In the heart of Davao City, Philippines, lived a young boy named Arnel. His days were simple yet heavy with responsibility. At just 14 years old, he often carried a small speaker and microphone, performing on busy streets and crowded jeepney stops, singing for spare change. His voice was his only treasure, a gift that seemed far too powerful for his small frame. His father worked tirelessly as a fisherman, returning home late at night with barely enough to feed the family. His mother sold fruits at the market, hoping to make ends meet. Despite their struggles, they never stopped believing in Arnel's dream. What set Arnel apart was not only his voice but also his love for Coldplay. Their music spoke to him in ways he couldn't explain. It was hope, light, and comfort. He taught himself how to blend their songs together, creating soulful medleys that touched the hearts of strangers passing by. Some would stop, listen, and record videos of him performing under the dim glow of streetlights. One evening, a foreign visitor in Davao heard Arnel sing and was stunned. He recorded the performance and posted it online. Within days, the video went viral, spreading across platforms, collecting millions of views. People called him the boy with the voice of angels and Coldplay's biggest fan from the Philippines. Not long after, an unexpected email arrived. It was from the producers of America's Got Talent 2025. They wanted Arnel to audition. For a boy who had never even boarded a plane, the news felt surreal. His mother hugged him tightly, whispering, "This is God's plan for you." With trembling hands, he accepted. For the first time, the streets of Davao were no longer his only stage. He was about to step onto the world's. The bright lights of Hollywood felt overwhelming as Arnel stood backstage at America's Got Talent 2025. It was his first time outside the Philippines, and everything seemed larger than life. The stage, the cameras, the roaring crowd he could hear beyond the curtains. Dressed in a plain white shirt, a pair of jeans, and his old sneakers, Arnel looked nothing like the glamorous contestants surrounding him. Some wore glittering costumes, others had big teams adjusting props and rehearsing dance moves. Arnel had only his voice and the small cross necklace his mother gave him before he left Davao. He tried to calm his racing heart, but his palms were sweaty. The noise of the audience made his chest tighten. What if I forget the lyrics? What if Simon hates me, he whispered to himself. A stagehand noticed his trembling and reassured him, "Just breathe. This is your moment." From behind the curtain, Arnel peeked out and caught sight of the judges, Simon Cowell, Sofia Vergara, Heidi Klum, and Howie Mandel. Their faces looked serious, intimidating. He quickly stepped back, closing his eyes to remember his family watching from home. He pictured his father returning tired from fishing, his mother's warm smile, and his little sister waving goodbye at the airport. When the producer asked, "Arnel, are you ready?" his voice cracked, but he nodded. He held his microphone tightly, whispering a prayer, "Lord, give me strength." As his name was announced, the crowd clapped politely. Taking a deep breath, Arnel walked into the blinding spotlight. The audience grew quiet. His heart pounded in his chest, but he told himself one thing: this is not just for me. This is for my family, for Davao, and for everyone who ever dreamed big. Arnel stood at center stage, the microphone trembling slightly in his hand. The lights dimmed, and for a brief second, silence filled the entire theater. He introduced himself in a soft voice, "My name is Arnel. I'm from Davao City, Philippines." A few audience members cheered, and Simon leaned forward, curious. When asked what he would perform, Arnel replied nervously, "I'll sing a Coldplay medley, my own version." The judges nodded, and the music began. The first piano notes of "Fix You" echoed through the hall. As Arnel opened his mouth, his voice, smooth yet powerful, poured out, carrying raw emotion. The audience grew still, hanging on every word. His delivery was pure, as though he were singing directly from his soul. Then, without warning, he transitioned seamlessly into "Viva la Vida." The rhythm picked up, and his energy shifted. He raised his hand with confidence, hitting every note with precision, his voice soaring above the crowd's applause. Next came Yellow, soft and heartfelt, each lyric painting an image of hope and love. By now, phones were out, capturing the once-in-a-lifetime audition. The transitions were flawless, as though the songs were always meant to live together. Finally, he ended with "A Sky Full of Stars." The tempo built to a climax, and Arnel's voice exploded with passion. The crowd rose to their feet, clapping in rhythm, some even crying. Heidi pressed her hands to her chest, Sophia wiped tears, and Howie smiled in disbelief. But the most shocking reaction came from Simon. He leaned forward, his usually stern expression replaced with awe. For the first time in a long while, he looked speechless. As the final note faded, Arnel lowered the mic, breathing heavily, his eyes wet. The entire auditorium erupted into thunderous applause. As the last echoes of "A Sky Full of Stars" faded, the entire theater erupted. The crowd was on its feet, clapping, cheering, and chanting Arnel's name. Backstage, producers and crew exchanged wide-eyed looks, they knew they had just witnessed something unforgettable. On stage, Arnel stood frozen, clutching the microphone as if it were his lifeline. His chest heaved with every breath. He looked toward the judges' table, unsure of what they would say. Heidi spoke first, her voice trembling. "Arnel, that was absolutely beautiful. You didn't just sing those songs, you made them your own. I felt every note." Sophia added with tears in her eyes, "I could feel your heart from the very first word. You have a gift, and you're sharing it with the world tonight." Howie leaned forward, smiling warmly. "You took one of the biggest bands in the world and somehow made their songs sound brand new. That takes real talent." Finally, all eyes turned to Simon. He sat silently for a moment, his hands folded, his gaze locked on Arnel. The tension in the room was electric. Then Simon leaned into his microphone and said softly, "Arnel. I've heard Coldplay thousands of times, but I have never heard anyone sing them the way you just did. You sang from your soul. That was perfection." Before anyone could react, Simon reached out and slammed the golden buzzer. The room exploded as golden confetti rained down, sparkling under the stage lights. The audience screamed, the judges jumped to their feet, and Arnel fell to his knees, overcome with emotion. Tears streamed down his face as he whispered, "Thank you, Lord, thank you, Mom and Dad." In that moment, the boy from Davao had become a global sensation. The morning after Arnel's audition, the world was already buzzing. His performance had gone viral overnight, reaching millions of views across YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. Headlines read, "Filipino boy brings Coldplay to life on AGT," and "Simon Cowell's golden buzzer leaves audience in tears." Arnel's name was suddenly everywhere. Back in Davao City, his family watched the replay on a neighbor's small television. His mother wept openly, clutching the rosary she had given him, while his father, usually a man of few words, wiped his eyes and whispered, "That's my son." Neighbors crowded around, cheering and crying as they saw the boy who once sang on street corners now standing in golden confetti on one of the biggest stages in the world. Coldplay themselves even shared a clip of his audition on their official social media, praising his creativity and calling it a performance full of heart. Fans across the globe sent him messages of love and encouragement. People from different countries wrote, "You gave me chills," and "Your voice healed something in me." Despite the sudden fame, Arnel remained humble. In interviews, he often said, "I sing for my family, for Davao, and for anyone who feels invisible. Music gave me hope, I just want to give that hope back." As AGT moved forward, Arnel prepared for the live shows with the same dedication he had when he sang barefoot on the streets. He knew the golden buzzer was just the beginning, not the end. For Arnel, it wasn't only about winning a competition. It was about showing the world that even a boy from the simplest beginnings could stand under the brightest lights, and shine.